Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Legacy Leaders. Today, I'm joined with Jennifer Harris. She is the COO of Revolution Group, among other things that she does. I am going to turn the microphone and camera over to her and let us know all about what she does and how well she does it. So, Jennifer, microphone and
Nice
camera are
to be
yours.
here. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me. I actually just let everyone know that I'm having a Christmas sale because I'm from the Cleveland area. So it's past 4:30 here. So I figured why not? We're
Perfect.
just having a conversation. So
Love it.
I'm the COO of Revolution Group. We are a technology consulting firm. We both have a managed service side and we have a manufacturing consulting side of the business. I grew up as a consultant on the manufacturing side before going into my role. And my leadership style is very like human centered leadership. I lead with a lot of heart. Company I came from before was also a technology company, and I was the only person on the whole leadership team that had the F in my was it the Myers Briggs
Oh,
letter?
really?
Yeah, and I thought
That's
it
what
was
everyone else
weird.
was thinkers. You're the feeler. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
I thought it was weird. And then I realized that, it takes all, right, to
Yeah.
lead. So my uniqueness really helped me be an anchor for people who were looking for help and wanted to move things forward that they felt they needed to change, but they felt like people weren't listening. So
Love
yeah, I
it.
lead with a lot of heart. I lead with curiosity. I always want to know why people do what they're doing, what, drives them. I always have people in the back of my head. When's the last time I connected with them? Does it feel hot? Does it feel cold?
Yeah.
Where are we at? I love community building. I do a nonfiction book club here in town. Just love to bring people together. Love bringing people together to innovate and use their brains. I'm a big fan of the whole, being a leader doesn't mean you're the person with all the answers in the room,
Yeah.
but I definitely get the people together to get all the answers. So, and I also believe we're just people. Like there's the business side and there's a personal side, but honestly, we're just humans. So we're all of those things. So I don't
I love that.
expect people to leave part of them at home because everything that we do in our lives, personal and business, it all really meshes together in our brains and in our hearts. So it's a little bit about myself.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And a couple things came out of this, and I want to thank you for being so candid. We talked earlier, and you said, I teach people how to people as a
Mm-hmm.
leader. I think that's a
Yeah,
really cool way of putting it.
yeah.
And connecting with curiosity, heart, emotion, always brings me back when people have this kind of conversation to that episode of Ted Lasso when he's throwing darts and he says, be curious, not judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that is one of the cornerstones of how you become very comfortable in your own skin
Mm-hmm.
because you're asking questions and you never put yourself in a position or situation to judge others because you don't know them. So you ask more questions. And
Mm-hmm.
before you know it, by asking a ton of questions, you get to know a lot about somebody. So I love the idea of, heart, emotion, curiosity. Okay, be curious, not judgmental. You'll find out you're a lot more successful that way. So thank you for sharing. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
You've been doing this for a little while now. What's it like trying to meet new challenges and come over a challenge that has always been maybe a thorn in your side or something that you haven't quite figured out how to get over? Is there an example you have about challenges that you face that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I still have challenges every
Yeah.
day. My passion about leadership in general is about building trust. And
Okay.
the whole we teach people how to people is really understanding that trust is four things. And
Okay.
you can learn those four things. And it's like a formula, and you can understand trust is built on these four things. You have credibility, you have reliability, you have intimacy, which sounds a little creepy, but just means connection with people. And then the last one is low self orientation. It's really those four things. And that if you understand the formula and you work on the things that you're weakest at, you can get client anybody
Yeah.
to trust you. And I don't mean that in like a in a vindictive, manipulative
Oh
way,
no.
because trust is both given and taken, right? It's a you're being trustworthy at the same time as trusting, and you have to put it out there and risk as well. And I feel like I'm going off topic a little bit here.
You're not at all.
Okay. So the original question was again?
What are some of the bigger challenges that you face?
Okay, big challenge. So when it comes to building trust, I know what the formula is. I know what my weak spots are, but it takes work. And I think my biggest challenge right now is the patience that it takes. I'm out there consulting people on how to build trust with people and how to repair relationships. Now, when it comes to personal relationships, there's a lot of added elements, but professionally, I'm the one who's put on our most complex, challenging customer relationships at work, right?
Okay.
I'm one who gets escalation when we need to figure something out. So I'm the person that people come to for resolution. And the challenge I have right now is just the patience and the time that it takes. I have some personalities that I work with that are extremely challenging. Like I'm married to an IT guy, right? So IT guys can be challenging, right? They understand the practicality of things. They understand the quickest way to A to B to C, but they might not understand what it really takes for buy-in from
Yeah.
people and how to listen without solving and how to include people in a decision in a process in a way that makes them believe that it's also something that you're bringing them on board for and not just throwing something on them. So I would say my biggest challenge right now is just the patience that it takes, the
Yeah.
cycles you put in of trying to get people to understand that truly 80% of any project is psychological. It is not just the thing, right? We're
Yeah.
implementing a new system at work right now. Um, it's going to rock some people's world, people that are in the system every day. And if you wait to the last minute to show them the system, they're going to feel like an afterthought. They're going to feel like they weren't included. They're going to feel like they've just been buried on. And so you
Yeah.
really need to get people involved sooner. And it takes time and it takes patience. And so there's still challenges that I'm getting over.
Yep. So, not that I want to tap into this to make you uncomfortable, but I think it's worthwhile to investigate. Okay.
Yeah.
The patience level that you talk about, is it your impatience with somebody not getting it and not following the process, or is it your inability to allow a process to work that you're impatient with? Because there are two different things.
I feel like it's more not understanding why people don't understand the human element of it.
Okay.
It's like how why is it so hard to see that people are involved in this and that
Yeah.
we need to include them instead of just bulldozing over people.
Okay.
That's the challenge.
So what I'm picking up, honestly, is an interesting conversation where, okay, you know the process works, and the challenge is getting people to step into the world where they can allow it to work for them,
Mm.
and it's their own lack of comfort with something new that allows them to be slow in the
Mhm.
migration to the new process. Is
Mhm.
that a good assessment?
Yeah, and it's sometimes even the people that are implementing the system on the team that really need to understand. I think the people are ready. The people want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
They're scared, but they need to be led down the path and know that you've got their back and not that 24 hours before you're going to just unload something on them and they're going to have to pivot quickly. So it's more just the care that it takes and wrapping people up and making them feel cozy that I feel like some people think that's a waste of time or too, it's not practical.
Well, here's the funny thing I want people to pay attention to. You may think it's not practical because it's going to take too much time, but how much time is wasted by bringing people up to speed,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's kind of like, oh, I'll figure this out. And then 2 hours later, you still can't put that IKEA table together. So you finally pick up the
Yeah.
instructions and read it, right? But if you read the instructions to start,
Yes.
it'd be made by now.
Yes. And you get like disciples too. In the beginning, you get people on board, you
Mhm.
get people energized about it. You include number one, you're getting that information up front that you're not going to find out later and you're going to
Yeah.
realize you did things wrong. You're going to include people, you're going to get people to be able to speak on your behalf because they're believers in something and they're disciples of what you're doing. So including people gives you benefits too, not just for the project, but also, people end up doing things on your behalf and doing some of the work, the hard work that needs done because you brought them in
Mhm.
early and prepared them for it.
So when you're teaching people how to be people, does creating disciples follow a certain process? Is that always something you try to do? Or is it a nice byproduct of what you're doing?
I disciples sounds so cult leaderish, literally. But I don't want anybody to believe in something they don't believe in. And
Yeah.
and I also believe that everybody's opinion makes a perfect product. So I
Right.
guess bringing people in early to understand what you're trying to do and the why is so huge. Why we're trying to do what we're trying to do, bringing them in early, explaining the why, giving them that inside information that they might not know if they're just an employee, right? Like, hey, I want to tell you why the company's making this decision, why we're doing it.
Yes.
Here's where I think it's going to benefit you, but also here's the thing that might suck a little bit, right? Because there's always something that's not going to
Mhm.
be great, and you have to be transparent about it. And you have to be able to take feedback, and you have to recognize that you can't gloss over everything. You have to be honest about what the outcome is going to be. And then you need to let them know that they're allowed to throw darts at anything that they want to throw darts
Mhm.
at. My German Shepherd's coming up right now,
Hey,
and
puppy.
be able to give you feedback. And I think if your idea is horrible, that
Mhm.
might be where you're at, right? Like you're getting feedback from all the team, and they're like, I'm never going to become a disciple of this because this is just not a good plan. And
Yeah.
then abort mission, right? And then but I think with understanding the why, with given patience, people being heard and understanding that their contribution and their opinion and their feedback is necessary to your process. If it is a good plan, you will create those disciples without.
Yeah. One of the things I think you made comment to, and I just wrote it down because it's always in my mind, written down this way. Clear, transparent, and candid communication is the best way to go.
Yeah.
And I don't care what business book you read, they all kind of tiptoe around the same exact concept, right? Be honest with your team, tell them what's going on, make sure there's a difference between content and context so they understand the why behind what you're doing. At the end of the day, what you really need to do is communicate with your team and make sure that the communication hits home somehow.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is, you have to find the why. And you nailed it when you said why is important. Because
Mm-hmm.
without it, why are we doing this? I don't even care why we're doing this.
Yes.
And if
The
it's
worst
going to
thing you could
impact,
do to somebody is say, tomorrow we're going to be doing this new thing and you're going to do it this way. And it is
yeah,
your job that you do 8 hours a day. And I never once asked you
yeah.
if what I've planned even makes sense. It's just disrespect. It's just disrespectful.
Especially in the vacuum that is the business you work in, because the people that come into work every day have been doing it this way for a very long period of time.
Yes.
They know it.
Yes.
Now you're going to change it all of a sudden. You didn't get any feedback.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing. If you're being a good leader, you would have reached out to them and said, what do you like about what you do? What do you don't like about what you do? If you were to make a change, what change would you make first?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And support that because you even made comment about, you know, the risk, find a different way of doing it, discuss it. What are the options? What feedback do you have for me? That's part of the candid nature of what a business communication should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's part of being a leader and pulling information out of your team so you can make decisions. Without it, you're kind of just doing everything in a vacuum and it doesn't help.
Yes.
It just doesn't.
Yes.
There's
You'll
a
end up
lot of good
failing.
ways to
You'll
build an
end up
amazing
failing.
win. What's that?
And you'll end up failing, whether your project succeeds,
Yeah, it's a
which
big
means
deal.
it's working, it's a system that's out there. But when everybody's grumbling and everybody understands that you didn't listen to them, and that word gets out, you failed your team.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to be a responsive manager or leader when you don't listen to what the team has just told you they're looking for.
Yes.
That's a really, I mean, your credit, you talk about, the trust, the four areas of
Mm-hmm.
trust. How do you blow out credibility any faster than not listening to somebody and incorporating it,
Yes.
right? And you can't be reliable if you never do what you say you're going to do. And you
Yes.
talk about, and that's context, intimacy, it's not intimacy. It's engaging with somebody to hear them
Mhm.
and get their feedback,
Mhm.
and then taking your self-worth out of the equation and doing what's better for the organization. That's how you get people to trust you,
Mhm.
right? I love that formula. And
Mhm.
the idea that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. How do you build trust?
Yeah.
Like, you don't stick somebody with a knife in the back. You tell them straight up what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah. As a leader, Jennifer, what would you say is a lesson that you think, yeah, every business owner, every business leader needs to learn this lesson sooner than later?
Mm. One of my core mottos is you teach people how to treat you.
Okay.
And I find that as a woman in business, and especially a woman in
Mhm.
manufacturing, which I have been for 12 years, um, there are misogynists out there for sure, and people that are going to treat you different because you're a woman. But then there's also people that are treating you different because you're not treating yourself the way that you want to be treated.
Yep.
Um,
That's a
so
tough one,
yeah.
especially for a woman in a male dominated field. How do you stand up and be assertive without being a bitch? How do you
Hmm.
stand up and make a comment without being an emotional person? It's
Hmm.
all about that balance of how do I give what I'm looking for so I get it in return? That's not an easy balance.
No.
How did you get over that? How did you make that work?
I mean, I still second guess myself in my head.
Mhm.
Today, I feel like everybody does. But I I had to see what I was responsible for and what they were responsible for. So
Okay.
I'll give you a story. I was a project manager for the first time at a manufacturing company in Texas. And so I'm going into the South, right? A woman in charge of a project in a manufacturing company. And this was my first project that I was leading. And everybody on my team was a man that was older than me. And everybody on site was a man. And I realized as I was walking out on the shop floor that when I would speak, nobody would say anything.
Hmm.
And when my coworkers, who were junior on the project, would speak, they were listened to. And so it was like these guys walking out on the shop floor together with me, like hanging back, right? And I just
Yeah.
realized I was being pulled away from the crowd. And if you know anything about me, I was like, hell no, there's no way this is going down like this,
This
right?
is not Jen's. This is not your world.
I need to rope this back in. So in Texas, I have to rope it back in. So I ran ahead and I caught up with the guys and I realized that my guys ran out of steam and didn't weren't asking questions. They were busy pointing out all the things that they knew. They weren't asking the client
Hmm.
questions. So I realized they lost steam. They didn't know what to say next. So I just started asking really intelligent questions. So I brought it back around to the client. I made it more client focused. I asked them truly interesting questions. What they were doing was extremely innovative and cool. And I just wanted to know more about it.
Yeah.
The owner of the company ended up, explaining the technology, showing us cool videos about it. And I got it back online. But as I looked back at what I did, I mean, one of the things I did was be a woman, which I can't control. But another thing that I did was I didn't fit their culture. I showed up in like snappy heels, and with this kind of weird, young, ready to impress energy.
Yeah.
And so, I was responsible for not fitting the culture. I probably should have showed up in something a little less formal, maybe spoke their language a little bit more tribally, and just was not as eager to impress.
No, this is I don't think you realize this is really powerful, and this is good lessons because everybody tries to fit in, but they don't know how to fit
Mm-hmm,
in.
mm-hmm,
And there's an old trick, for lack of a better word, in the coaching world that we talk about a lot, which is mirroring and matching. Don't
mm-hmm,
ever mock, don't ever pretend, just mirror and match. So
mm-hmm,
you mirror their energy, you match their energy, you mirror their conversation, you match the culture by just observing.
mm-hmm.
Now, granted, you need to have a little bit of foresight before you go into a meeting
Yeah.
to do that before you get there. But once you're there, it's all about mirror and matching and figuring out the best way to communicate with people is how they want to. Unless it gets to a point where you can't be that person anymore, and you can't be nice anymore. You need to change it. But for the most part, you gotta match the culture of what people are doing. And that's when they start embracing you, right?
We have a consultant on our team, and we had to go live. So what I talked about implementing and rolling out systems, like internally we're doing that, but we do
Yeah.
that, right? We do that with our customers. Not the ops team that's rolling out our project, but the ERP side, they roll out product. And this woman on our team can speak to, as they call, from the top floor to the shop floor. So she's meeting with the CFO and explaining the costing elements of the modules of the software. And this is the report you need because I know you're going to go to your owners and you're going to, she knows everything to say and everything
Sure.
to do. And then she also is out on the shop floor speaking very informally, possibly using multiple cuss words in conversation, just understands what they want to hear and
Yeah.
that she's there to support them. And yeah, maybe the man brought in this new system and didn't bring you on board when they should have, but I'm here to help you. And then they're inviting her to have pizza at lunch with them because she's cool. And they didn't
Yeah.
invite me. And I was like, okay, I'm not cool. But just also a lesson in, yeah, the mirroring. I mean,
Yeah.
I went to a project, it was we work with a lot of automotive customers. And this was back when Tesla was more of a hippie vehicle, and my
Yeah.
husband has one, right? And so I always take my Jeep or a rented car to clients. Okay. And so I'm at a very strong automotive supplier, pull up to the parking lot in my Jeep. I feel pretty good about that, right? Got a Jeep.
Sure.
People may comment about my Jeep. And then my car, like tire issue or something, one day I had to bring my husband's car. And I was like, you know,
Shoot.
I'm
Yeah.
bringing an EV to like an all American, like, gas guzzling, like,
Uh-huh.
and I
Yeah.
parked on the side of the building because I didn't want them to see.
Yeah. I
I was like a little embarrassed.
Well, it's not that you don't want to be inauthentic, and that's not what we're saying here. What we're saying is don't disrupt the apple cart and allow the culture to guide where you're going.
Yeah. Well,
I
and
think
I
that's
felt that
important.
way a little bit too about it in the beginning too. I wasn't being, that was definitely his car. I wasn't being inauthentic, but I also understood like this is the culture. They're used to the Jeep girl showing up, and that's not the same one today.
Yeah. Well, the good news is somebody like you're not changing who you are just because you're driving one vehicle or another.
Yes.
It's the perception. And
Yeah.
that's, I would think, one of the bigger challenges you have in any business is getting over somebody's perception of you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not much you can do about that until they get a chance to work with you. And
Yeah.
that's when things change.
Yeah.
Because whoever it is that they think showed up is not the same person they're working with right now.
Yes.
Right. And that to me is one of the stronger testaments to anybody in business that can have a long lasting career is people realize that they're not what they thought, but they like working with you anyway. So they keep
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, it's all about relationships, right? So if you teach people how to be people, and they can be better people when they engage with other people, they're going to want to work with them, regardless of their background, regardless what car they drive, what
Yes.
outfit they showed up in. But those things have an immediate response and reaction, so that perception gets made. It's all up to us to make sure that what we're trying to present is actually what gets presented. And if not, how do we work our way into changing that perception? It's all part of that world, man. It's not an easy world to manage, but I give you credit for managing it as successfully as you have over the years. Um,
Yeah,
any
and
other
I've worked
lessons?
with some extremely intelligent people that have a credential that have worked in manufacturing for 35, 40 years, who've had every job at a manufacturing plant, but who can't answer emails on time. So that's
Yeah.
going to like immediately, right, reduce that reliability. So it
Hmm.
really is about every single element of the factor, or people that maybe they have all the other elements, and maybe they even understand and know the person, like they understand their kids names, and they know
Yeah.
what their favorite sports team is, or whatever, but they are self-interested, and the person can tell that they're self-interested, that they're just trying to get this project over the finish line, and they don't really care what it looks like on the other side. So having all those elements is really important, because you can be the smartest person in the room or the most credible. Like look
Yeah.
at doctors that lose patients because of bedside manner.
100%.
You have a doctor who's amazing and they're going to perform surgery on you, but maybe they don't make somebody feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You're out of there. So
I'd rather have the nurse tell me or the PA tell me what's going on. I don't want to talk to this doctor because
mhm.
not my cup of tea. Any other lesson that you think you might want to suggest or throw out there that comes to mind? You don't need one. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I would just say overall, leadership, there's a lot of things about leadership that's like, tell me when your leadership journey started. And, it's literally your whole life. It's
Yeah.
literally your whole life. Even if it starts being the shyest person in the room, even if it starts with being a passive aggressive person and learning your lesson over time. But my mom passed away a few years ago and she always said, life is like a tapestry where everything looks pretty. Like I'm a COO, right? I've got a side business. Everything looks pretty on the top, like this painting, right? Everything's like beautiful.
Yeah.
It's all laid out, right? But then you flip the rug over and you see a string going from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, from here to here. And there's all of this work that was put into it to make this beautiful presentation. But
Yeah.
on the back, there's so many things that make you who you are. And you really have to pull from all of those things. One of my
That is,
first lessons is I was in the fourth grade and I was bullied, right? And girls didn't like me. And so the popular girls, it was a talent show, and they were going to put together a little dance, and they all invited each other to be part of their group. And nobody invited me because I wasn't cool. So I went up there and I did my own dance to Whitney Houston. And like, that's like one of my first lessons is screw them. They're going
yeah.
to do it. I'm still going to freaking do it. I'm still doing it. And,
Yeah.
and yeah, there was times where I was crying to my mom about how nobody liked me. Like, but you think about all those things that happen over time that's crafting who you are today. And all of those things are part of your leadership journey. And all of those things are lessons for people to learn. Every little part of your life is your leadership journey. And it's still not done. There are still things that I'm learning yesterday,
Yeah.
today, tomorrow that will add on to it. Hopefully I'll continue to evolve and I won't regress. But
Well,
it's
that's I
all
would say,
going forward.
yeah, one of the greatest parts of being a good leader is you're constantly willing to learn and make changes when necessary. I have to be honest with you, that's one of the best explanations I've ever heard about everything looks good on this side, but you flip it over, that's how it was made. And
Mm-hmm.
it's, everyone says everybody loves the way sausage tastes, but nobody wants to know how it's made,
Yeah.
right? Everybody loves the beautiful tapestry, but nobody really pays attention to how that thread was woven to make that work. And
Yeah.
that's just your history. That's who you are. So thank you. That's a beautiful analogy, and I'm going to steal that if you
Yeah.
don't
That's
mind.
from Annie K. That's from Annie K.
Well, I'm stealing it from you. Hey, before we jump off, I've got one final question. If I were to drop you into a time machine and send you back and you get a chance to meet 18-year-old Jennifer,
Oof.
what's that conversation between the two of you sound like?
Just the world is so big and this is so
Yeah.
small. This is so small. Um, yeah, I just think about how, your friends are your friends, the boys are the boys that the town is the town you live in. And to know, I moved out when I was 19 to go to college because I didn't know what the FAFSA form was. I didn't know you could like pay for college with the government's money and then pay it back later. I
Yeah.
think we missed an assembly when I was in high school. And yeah, just understanding that you can be anything that you want to be, and that there are no limits on your life, and that everything here will seem so small one day, and you won't even remember a lot of
Yeah.
it, and not to put so much emphasis on the struggles that you have now that they'll seem so minuscule later.
I love that. Great capper to the conversation. I appreciate it. It's been over 30 minutes, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
I told you the time would go fast. It always does. I just realized how dark my camera is because I
I
don't
thought
have an
this room
over
was going to go dark, but I'm still
yeah,
okay right now.
I don't have an overhead light on because I didn't need it, but now all of a sudden I probably needed it, but that's okay. I want to thank you for being on the show. This was awesome. All your information to get in contact with you will be in the description down below, so I encourage people to connect.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll see everybody on the next episode. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Take care. Have a great evening.